Okay, well, like Jesse mentioned, we've teamed up with the amazing women at Hearts in the Ice for several years now, sharing their amazing mission to bring climate change to the front of everybody's viewing and to encourage everybody to take an active role. So in 2019, 2020, Sunniva Sorby and Hilde Strom made history when they became the first women to overwinter in Svalbard solo. They spent 12 months at the remote trapper's cabin Bamsabu, located 78 degrees north and 140 kilometers from the coast, the closest town of Longyearbyen in Svalbard. Climate change is not taking a break, so neither are they. They returned to Svalbard in November and are overwintering at Bamsabu until May 2021. So together with a team of 10 global partners, Hearts in the Ice is a bridge between science and global citizens to better understand climate change and why we all need to be doing our part. They will continue to serve as citizen scientists on a variety of projects, from observing clouds and the auroras to flying drones to monitor ice, collecting phytoplankton samples as they build on their second year of data collection. So we have done classroom events with them, probably 2 or 3 dozen by now, connecting live, connecting experts from around the world as well with their calls. And today we have Hilde and Sunniva joining us live via satellite phone, 140 kilometers from their nearest neighbors in Svalbard, from Bamsabu. Hilde and Sunniva, how are you doing today?
Woohoo! Hi, Joe. We're doing great. Hi, Joe.
All right. Excellent. Well,
so nice to be here with you.
It is great to have you here. I just switched my picture so we can get a little picture of the two of you out in the Arctic. It's always great to hear your voices. It's always great to host you live with classrooms. It has such an impact. In fact, we just did an event just yesterday together. So it's great to hear you again. And I'm going to let you take over for a bit because I want you to tell everybody tuning in a little bit about Hearts in the Ice and just what you're up to.
Okay, excellent. This is Sunniva, and I'll just start us off. And I just want to share the picture that you were showing. That's Hilde and my office. Not bad, eh? That's where we get to play and explore every day. For those of you who are listening right now, Hearts in the Ice is the two of us. We started this project how long ago, Hilde? A couple of years?
4 years ago, actually.
Oh, boy, it's already been 4 years ago. We've been living isolated up this tiny, and it's tiny, believe me when I say that, trapper's cabin that's 215 square feet, 20 square meters. There's no running water here. I can't, turn the shower on because there's no shower. We haven't had a shower. We'll leave that for later. We have no electricity here, so we're using solar and wind. We're completely off the grid. We have a zero carbon footprint here because of a company called Choose. And, we left our jobs 2 years ago. We both work in the polar travel industry. And I've spent most of my life in the Antarctic. And Hilde, of course, is a Svalbard resident and native. She's been up here for over 25 years. And when we met in 2016 at a conference, we decided we had a love of ice in common, as not too many people who share that. We also discovered that we both have seen so much change over the decades in the polar regions as it relates to biodiversity and climate and ice and wildlife. And we just basically wanted to do something about it. So we started this project, Hearts in the Ice. And Hilde has had access to this hut before, so we were able to use this as our base camp. And Bamsabu is the name of the hut. It means little bear. And we're with our 3-year-old Malamute Etra. And we have, surrounded ourselves with a lot of smart people, a lot of scientists and researchers, from the Norwegian Polar Institute to the University Center of Svalbard to Scripps Institute of Oceanography to NASA. Who am I forgetting? BCIT. We're flying a drone. We're collecting phytoplankton. We're observing wildlife. We're collecting ice core samples. And we're doing this to be a bridge, as you are, Joe, with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, sort of a bridge between the schools and adventurers and exploration and science. We're kind of the bridge between, individuals out there and the scientists, because science has gotten a bad rap over the years. It's hard for a lot of people to understand how to interpret data. And the credibility sometimes declines, especially with the terrible media of late. So we are sharing stories around why we're here, what we're doing, and we have been following a pretty heavy-duty set of protocol and have lots of equipment, including like a Lynx snowmobile and a 4-foot tall ice core that's, not automatic. We use it by hand. It's like a drill. And we have this infrared drone that we fly. So we're very busy here, and we're doing it because we really care about what's happening up here in the Arctic. The changes have been escalating, and they won't get any better. It will only increase and create more devastation. So we're doing this because we care. Mother Nature needs her daughters, and we like to say we answer the call. And I'll pass this over to Hilde a little bit.
I don't know, Joe, maybe would you like to share the video now?
Yeah, sounds like a great time. I'm just going to swap my screens here, and I will share this great video here, and then maybe you can talk a little bit about it after we've shared it. So just bear with me for one moment. Going full screen.
Perfect.
Here we go.
The only neighbors that we have around us in miles of miles is polar bears and reindeers and polar foxes.
We have been up here in Svalbard at a remote trapper's cabin called Bamsaboo. Today is March 9th. It's a full moon, and it's the first time that I see the sun since October.
We've had many polar bear meetings and encounters at the doorstep. We both have seen huge changes in the climate, both in the Antarctic area where Sunniva is working, and for me up here in the Arctic.
We're at this tipping point now where not only are we able to see the visible changes around us, but we can create stories around them to better understand even who we are as people.
We can tell you a little bit about polar bears and why the ice is important for them. The biggest polar bear that we had as a visitor was 600 kilos. That's almost as big as the hut.
I think we both feel it's more important than ever. So this gives us an opportunity to broaden our platform.
With Hearts on the Ice, we're just trying to, provide a vehicle through which to share some ideas and inspiration and resources. We're not trying to save the world, but we are trying to tell people that the world needs saving.
Tell us what you're doing to preserve the health of the planet for future generations. Send us your...
All right. Well, that was an amazing video. That was on CNN. So clearly you're doing a great job of getting the word out about, climate change and what you're doing.
Well, as Sunniva said earlier here, what's happening up here in the Arctic is eventually going to happen all over the world because we are sort of a mirror of a very rapid climate change up here.
And for those of you that are watching and listening in now you maybe have a little better understanding about our hut and our surroundings. It's absolutely amazing around here, and we are very, very close to the North Pole. What we have seen, though, the last 25 years, and even just the 2 winters that me and Sunniva have been here, is extreme change. I mean, last winter we had a normal polar winter. In so many years, it had been various and warmer winters, the last 15 years at least. And last winter we had finally a little bit coldness, and we had sea ice and a lot of snow and no rain during winter. So we didn't have any ice on the tundra. So the reindeers were able to get to their plants underneath the snow, and the seals were able to crawl up on the ice, and the seals are the main food source for the polar bears. So everyone was living as they are supposed to. And this winter we paddled kayak last Friday, and this time last year we were riding a snowmobile and running and skiing on the ice. So and also we've had a lot of rain. So again, we have this very layer of ice on top of the tundra, and the reindeers and the whole chain of wildlife is really struggling. We are following a polar bear mom. I don't know, Joe, if you are able to pull up that picture, but you saw some polar bears in the video too. But it's the polar bear mom that we are following for Norwegian Polar Institute, and we were able to confirm that she came out from her den last winter with a cub. Unfortunately, she lost that cub, and when she came back here to the hut during, it was July last summer, she had lost the cub. And the scientists were sure that she wasn't able to mate for this season, but she actually did. So now she's in the den. She has a collar around her neck that calls in information every evening to the scientists who Norwegian Polar Institute. And that collar can tell the scientists that she is colder this winter. Her temperature is actually lower. And that is the reason why is because it's less snow. We have had more rain and less snow this winter. So her den is thinner. So she has less insulation in her den. It's about the same as we experience here inside this very old trapper's cabin. We don't have any insulation either. But that aside, we are very worried that she might not come out of the den with a live cub this spring. So we'll just see. But if I could share anything a little bit about the day today, I wish you could hear the noises around us. We have a gale outside, and it's -12, so it's a wintry day. And our dog Etra, she's inside the cabin today. She's not very fond of wind, so she's here chewing her reindeer antler for entertainment, and it's also kind of brushing her teeth. So, Joe, it's just a call out to all your guests and our guests that we are so engaged in what we are doing. We are so far from anything, but we appreciate so much being able to share knowledge with our experts and you through kids to all over the world.
Excellent. Well, we're so thrilled to have you. I have a picture on the screen right now of the two of you with Etra, and Etra is really, not only a companion, but also a polar bear alarm. And you had to go without her for the first few months, and she was just able to be returned to you. Can you tell us a little bit about one of the polar bear encounters that happened without Etra?
Yes, we had this polar bear encounter. Well, we've had 10 maybe the last month and a half, and since we don't have any sea ice, they have to pass our hut. So we actually expected to have more. We probably have had more, but Etra hasn't been outside barking and telling us, and it has been completely pitch black for 3 months, polar nights. So it's hard for us to see. But we have had some very curious ones, and they have been up to the front door. They have been to our walls. And 1.5 weeks ago, I heard a noise outside just behind my back, sitting in the sofa. Sunniva was on the other sofa. It's very tiny in here, so it's not a big space. We did as we always do. We dress up quickly, very quickly, with some safety gear and down jackets and hats and a huge flashlight, and went outside. And I was the one in front at that time, and I was trying to open the door, and it was literally towards the door. I couldn't open the door, and the door hit something soft and big and heavy, and that was a polar bear. But that scared him or her, and she ran off for 30 meters and stopped and just looked at us, and was sort of a little bit of a hide and seek with us at the shoreline there. So Estra it's really great having Estra back. She's almost 40 kilo Malamute, and she is, when she sees them, she's not a watchdog in an ordinary sense, but when she smell or see a polar bear, she barks and let us know that a polar bear is approaching. So we're so glad to have her back, also for just comfort and enjoying her company.
All right. Well, I'm glad you have your polar bear alarm back. She's a very important member of the team, so I'm glad the team is reunited. I want to talk a little bit about some of the citizen science projects that you've been working on. Particularly, you mentioned NASA. What are you doing with NASA?
Well, it's pretty cool. We first met a woman by the name of Liz from NASA. She started this program called Aurora Saurus. It's an app that everybody can download to record the aurora real time. And they were really curious to see what sort of aurora we could capture here, including time lapse, where we set out our camera and let it run for like just a couple of seconds in between each shot. And so you put that together and you got like a video montage of some amazing footage. And what they were really interested in is something called the Cusp Aurora, which really only happens up here, and it's during the daytime. Holy cow. I don't know if many of you can relate to this, but we've been living in total darkness for over 3 months, where there's just no lights, there's no street lights, there's nothing. And the Cusp Aurora, when that shows up during the day, it sort of lights up the sky from east to west. So we've been recording that. And something really cool that we did for NASA last December, I think it was December 10th, they wanted us to position our cameras at a certain, angle above the horizon line, certain position exactly, to photograph a rocket launch. And so Hilde and I became the first rocket citizen scientists, because we're closer, which is so bizarre to think about. We are closer to the lowest band of the aurora than we are to the town of Longyearbyen. So the night sky here, oh boy, it is just full of magic and wonder, and we've been capturing it on film.
All right, very cool. Well, I'm just dipping into the comment section, and I want to give a shout out. I know Pascal's joining us, Bettina's joining us, which is great. They're saying hi via the chat. And we've got a few questions from the chat, which I think would be a good time to work a couple in. So the first one here, and this, I'm not surprised that this question came up. Gideon's curious, how did you get your food? Did you bring it all with you? What are you eating? Are you being resupplied? What's going on with that?
Let's just say that we are dreaming of a day when a drone can deliver a fresh cappuccino and a hot cinnamon roll. But we're not quite there yet. We brought everything in via ship. When we first came here last year, we had 9 months to think about. And it came mostly dried goods and canned goods and lots of frozen goods. No problem freezing things here last year. but this year is a little different. So we are now at a point where we're running out of fresh food. We have some carrots and apples and oranges and garlic and ginger and what else do we have? A couple of things left, but mostly it will be dried goods, and we have lots of powders like kale powder, beet powder, almond meal, and stuff that grasa pascal and grasa butina, that we've gotten these things so we can make some healthy smoothies. But we're missing fresh food already.
All right, I can imagine. So we've got the Penguin Lady tuning in. I believe we're featuring her this month in our story maps and our education materials on our website. I'm going to share the link for that shortly. But she is wondering, how many different research projects are you collecting data for right now?
It's 8 that we are doing, and we have 2 new, or it's actually 9. It's 2 new this winter, in addition to those that we did last year, and that is kelp for the University of Svalbard, because the higher temperature in the ocean, well, everything is changing. Also, the number and mass of kelp. So, and also we are doing a psychological study together with a professor in psychology. Her name is Gro, and she was on our call, Joe, in January. And she is studying us, but first and foremost, she's studying astronauts for a long period, and
what they're really interested in with us and the NASA astronauts, as Hilde was saying, is just the impacts of isolation on teamwork, communication, coping. And so we have this app on our phone that can work without satellite data, which is good. And then we have these written questionnaires we do once a month on our personal values, how they might change over time, and then also every Wednesday just coping. And it's really fascinating. So those are the 2 new projects, but 9 total. We're busy here, but it's a good busy.
All right, excellent. Let's grab another question from the chat here. We've got some classrooms tuning in today. Mrs. Budd's crew, I think they're class 5 too. So maybe they're a 5th grade class, and they're in Ontario. They're wondering, how much experience did you need before being able to do something like this? How experienced are you in Arctic or Antarctic exploration?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think we have, Sunniva has a lot of experience from the Antarctic, and also, being outside. I have a lot of experience up here in the Arctic. We have both been on longer expeditions, and we're familiar with harsh weather and remoteness and long trips, but not as long as this one. So, we were here for 9 months until September, and came back now in November. So I think we didn't see the challenge of just being the 2 of us far away for such a long time. But I think we have managed very well, and we have solved every problem that has come to us. But I think we can say that we are maybe a little bit over average, both handy woman and
maybe on the crazy aspect. He's just not going to say that.
We have a lot of experience, and I also have a lot of experience with polar bears, and Sunniva have. She has adapted fantastically, both with the darkness and being so far away from everything that she's familiar with, but also this is so much new stuff for me. So I think we have adapted well, and we had the skills that we needed to do that.
I just want to share one quick thing, since I know that there's quite a few students listening. One thing are the hard skills, that you can check off a little list and make sure you're prepared for. But then there are the soft skills that often go unnoticed that just about everybody out there possesses. So it's like, if there's a word of encouragement there, it's find your inner bumpu, which is really about making sure you step out of your comfort zone, making sure you really understand and are able to be honest about who you are and who you're not. And, use community. Neither one of us, despite the fact that we have a ton of life experience, neither one of us would be here without, if it were not for the help of our entire community of experts out there. And that includes you, Joe.
All right. Well, I want to share, as we're getting close to our end time, it went so fast today. Usually we have almost an hour together, but it's half the time today. I'm going to share the links, Twitter and Instagram, where people can follow along and keep up with your adventures. And then for the classrooms and anybody who's interested, who's tuning in, we also have some pages built out on the Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants website. So if you go to exploringbytheseat.com/Hilde, Hearts in the Ice, you can find story maps with all kinds of great curriculum about some of the citizen science projects that they're working on, information about polar bears, exciting women in science and exploration. So do take a look at some of that and check out some of the story maps. We have about 4 of those story maps live, and lots of other great stuff you can check out. So Hilde and Sunniva, before we wrap up today, I want to give both of you a chance just to maybe share a final thought with us, with our viewers tuning in as we celebrate women in science and exploration.
Absolutely. And believe it or not, we're trying to load StreamYard right now so we can see you. Let's hope that works. But our message is really one of pretty simple. It's showing up for the people that you care about and truly showing up for, what you care about. We're living at a time right now when, especially with everybody out there living so removed from one another and everything being virtual, it's, reaching out and sending that kind word or keeping yourself curious and engaged. We cannot let ourselves as people become mediocre or dormant. More than ever, we are needed to actually create, momentum with each other and flow around protecting our precious resources and our people who don't have access to resources the way we do. So, find your inner bumsaboo. Stay on the edge. Stay curious. Stay engaged.
All right, excellent. Well, Hilde and Sunniva, stay warm up there. Keep getting out and collecting amazing citizen science data. And then I believe we're back together for a classroom event on the 18th at 12 p.m. Eastern.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Joe. And thanks to everyone that was listening.
Excellent.
Have a great weekend.
Okay, you too. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, TT and Pascal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Joe.
See ya. Okay, let's come back from that screen share. That was great to be able to connect with Hilde and Sunniva live in Svalbard.